Hey guys, this is Creatures of the Night podcast, and I'm Wendy.
And I'm Chris. Hi, guys.
Hi. And on this week's episode, we are talking about haunted objects.
Ooh.
Which we have discussed some pretty epic haunted objects in the past.
Yeah.
From cursed boxes to haunting paintings. But for me, I think nothing screams haunted object quite like a creepy ass doll does.
Yeah, they're terrifying. Nobody wants one of those things to get up and just charge at them.
Yeah, I think Chucky pretty much ruined me. Plus, when you just look at certain dolls in their eyeballs, it's like they're looking right back at you. I guess some paintings could do the same thing, but they're flat, they're not 3D. You don't think they can get out and just like choke you.
Yeah, no, and that goes back to the eyes carry the soul, something like that. So when you're looking at a doll, you're like, yeah, whose soul are you carrying around? I don't want to know.
That's why my choice for haunted object was Robert the doll.
Yes, that's such a good one. Talk about creepy.
Creepy. Which, he's like pretty banged up these days. I can't imagine that that's how he's always looked, but I don't think that there's necessarily earlier photos of him. I mean, obviously we'll share what we can, but the pictures that you will see of him now, he is a little boy like doll, and people say his hair almost looks real. I think it's kind of a light blondish color. He's wearing a sailor suit, and he's got like a nub of a nose. I mean, it's basically just like two pinholes. And then he's got black eyes. And like I said, now he's covered in these like little nicks all over his body.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know if at one point he was all new and fresh, but he's like all beat up now.
I think he's always looked old, just like Tommy Lee Jones.
I love Tommy Lee Jones.
I do too, but he's always looked the same.
He's always looked a little weathered, yeah.
Just like this doll. Oh my God.
Now, these days you'll see an image of him like holding some other toy.
Yeah, like a stuffed bear.
Yeah, there's the one with the bear, but I think even the bear must have got old and weathered, so they've changed it out to a dog now. I mean, like, he's got to have his toys,
That would be weird to see Robert the doll holding a miniature version of Robert the doll.
I wonder if he'd like that or dislike it.
Yeah, I don't know.
So for those of you that don't know the story, Robert the doll was a gift to Robert Eugene Otto in the early 1900s for his 4th birthday. The story of who gifted Robert to Gene is what he went by, not Robert. Now, there is some stories out there saying that he went by Robert until he got Robert the doll, and Robert the doll got his name, and then he said, well, now I have to be called Gene. That's what Robert tells me.
Oh, that's kind of messed
up. Like he stole his name. Now, whether that is real story or not, but that is one that you will hear out there. The kid into adulthood did go by the name of Gene. So, like I was saying, the story of who gifted Robert to Gene changes depending on who you ask. One of the spicier versions of the story is that it came from one of the family's dismissed maids or servants after being moved to create it when she was angry with the boy's parents over mistreatment. Like, some people say that they were really shitty to their servants, and so she got dismissed or fired for some reason, and then she's like, I'm going to show you. And she made the doll and then gave it to him, and she told them that she was trying to like make good with them, but really she just wanted to give them this cursed ass doll.
Yeah, you don't fucking piss off the hired help. That's just like telling the cook that your food sucks. They're just going to go take it back and spit in it, You just play nice.
Yeah.
And then peacefully say goodbye.
There's also stories that she's a Haitian woman, so she has certain cultural things that she does as rituals, and that she was caught doing one of those in front of the kids, and the mom flipped out and fired her, so then she made this doll. Okay. But again, we just described Robert to you. He's not quite a simple design. How you could just craft this up in no time and take it back to your boss while you're still angry doesn't make sense.
He's not like your average puppet.
No, he doesn't look like a voodoo doll or anything like that. He looks like a legit doll. So this would take some time. Plus, many people have researched the story and found out that Robert looks very much like this German doll. And Gene's grandfather was a wealthy doctor from Germany who lived in Florida, but he traveled back home a lot Now, the only difference is Robert is like much larger than those dolls that were being made. So a lot of people think that he was like a store display.
Oh, crazy.
That's why it would have took some money to go and buy the display. You know what I mean?
And I hate it for that department store because it would have been cursed. Don't buy it. Was that a Dillard's? Where was that doll on display?
Dillards are
Holy
so
crap.
sad. That would make so much sense. You can find good deals,
So
though.
true. Yeah, you used to be able to in the Raleigh Springs Mall back home. They had a whole clearance floor at that Dillard's. Do you remember that?
Yes, with tons of prom dresses, you know, or
Tons.
type formal dresses. Fuck yeah, you can go and get like a really nice banging dress that you're just going to wear for, you know, this one thing. You can never be seen in it again. So you're super psyched to pay $20, $25 for it or whatever.
Yeah. Right. That's something that says $50, $60 on the price tag.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a cool store. I loved it.
Yeah. So whoever gave Jean this gift, it didn't matter. Robert and Jean, they were like inseparable right away. He was in love with it. Jean took it everywhere with him. But the servants and his parents started to notice that Jean would be in his bedroom having full-blown conversations with himself, but in two entirely different voices.
That's bad.
He's either going to be the best actor ever or there's a fucking demon in there with him.
Yeah, no kidding.
Of course, they'd go in the room. Nobody would be in there with him. And then they would be like, who are you talking to? And he'd say, Robert. Well, that's not odd because he's a kid. Of course, he's playing with his doll that way.
Yeah, but man, this other voice, was he just like really dropping that voice?
Yeah.
They must have thought that's what he was doing.
Or that's what they wanted to tell themselves.
Yeah.
And then, like a little later on, Jean started waking up in the middle of the night, like screaming and like out of his mind, scared. And they'd run into the room and they would find that like bedroom furniture was overturned and stuff. And then Robert the doll would be like at the end of the bed and Jean would be freaking out and the parents would be like, what happened? And Jean said, Robert did it.
Oh, man. Then depart of this doll, child. We don't need it.
So this continued in other parts of the house and different times of day, like things would be messed up or broken or torn up, and Jean would always blame it on Robert. And the Ottos, they didn't really know what to believe. I mean, they just assumed that Jean was doing this and then just blaming it on his doll. But it got a little eerie when they started hearing giggles around Robert, like when nobody else was around.
Man, that kid is getting good at these throwing voices things.
He's a ventriloquist, yeah.
I'm surprised these parents didn't like at least seek some kind of therapist to be like, there's something going on with him. Either he's going to be a ventriloquist or he's raising demons. I mean, figure it out.
He did grow up to be an artist, but not a performer. He was a painter. So they also had people that were passing by the house coming back and telling them that they saw a small doll moving from window to window.
That would be creepy. And why would you just stop by and be like, hey, such a weird thing. I saw a doll moving from, like, why would you stop and do that?
Good Samaritan? I mean, just FYI, if you didn't know, you have a possessed doll in your house.
They're trying to give them the warning, but they're not heeding it.
Do something about that, please.
Wow.
So the mom eventually had enough, and she placed Robert in a box and put him in the attic. And he lived there for years.
Oh, wow.
Until mom and dad passed away, Jean inherited the house. Now, he's an adult at this point. So he moves back to Key West, Florida, and he immediately goes and gets Robert out of the attic and brings him back to his childhood bedroom and sets it up all for him, like makes little furniture and everything dedicated for Robert.
Creepy!
Somehow, Jean actually finds a woman and gets married.
Yeah, right. It must have been that art that he was producing. Because, I mean, when you come into this man's home and you see he's got a whole room for this creepy looking doll, I mean, that's your run. That's your get
red
the hell
flags
out.
Galore all over the place. And she must have just been like, that's cute.
Adorable. But
he did live in a mansion. So maybe she was just like, whatever you want to do, honey.
Right.
That's
gotcha.
fine.
That's okay.
Do you have a cough? Is it going to end soon? So this continues for years. Gene is still attached to Robert. He's taking him everywhere with him that he can. They sit and paint together. Well, I mean, I think Gene's just doing the painting, but I don't know, because wifey is saying that she's seen the doll move around. She's kind of talking shit about the doll. Then she becomes scared of the doll. The servants that they had working there, or people that might have come over, they were saying that they were seeing the odd things like that, like hearing voices, and they could have swore that they saw that Robert's expression would change. All kinds of crazy stuff.
Like from black pointless eyes to angry pointless eyes. I don't.
They'd claim that his mouth would change.
Oh, wow.
Which again, it's more just like a carving of the mouth. So
just like a slit then, right?
In our last recording, and we'd probably cut it out because it was completely random, but I thought that the doorknob right in front of me moved. So, I mean, maybe these people have eyes like I do. They're just like seeing shit all of a sudden. Because that doll is creepy enough to make you like want to watch its every move. Yeah. And so you might just be staring too hard at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. Right. Your eyes then play tricks on you, right?
You're over-evaluating the situation here.
Yeah.
It might be a little bit in your head. But still, multiple people reported all these creepy experiences. Doesn't matter. Gene's in love with the doll. They're never going to part until Gene dies.
Man, yeah. Just going back to that for a second. I mean, if all this other shit's going on, I have to believe that his fucking mouth is moving too. He's going from a slit to a, oh, I'm going to kill you. You know, I mean, I could totally imagine that. Like, why would you even make it up at this point?
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't put it past him. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, there's also these other elements that could be involved. I gotcha.
Yeah. So when Gene passes away, wife immediately puts Robert right back in the attic. Why she doesn't get rid of him, I don't know. I'm assuming people are scared of him at this point.
Okay.
Like what he might do. Like that voodoo doll you talked about, this is like a year ago or whatever. But then people tried to get rid of it and it kept showing back up at the same doorstep or whatever.
Yeah,
so it was impossible.
Okay. You couldn't get rid of it.
Yeah, they must have felt something like that would have happened. So they held on to it, but she put it in the attic. Later sold the house to a Myrtle Rooter, which also now made Myrtle Robert's caregiver because they didn't take Robert with them.
Oh my God. Of course not. They're going to leave that shit there.
She's all moving her stuff in and she's like, why did they leave this doll up here? And the doll's like, take me downstairs. And she's okay.
What a horrifying thing. If I don't like that. I don't want to find that in the attic.
No, that's why it's creepy anytime you've moved into a house and people have left their shit there because you're a little wary about touching any of it. You don't know how disgusting the people were, for one. So as you're rooting around in their packages, it's like, what the fuck am I about to find? And then there's stuff like this. It could be fucking cursed, and that's why they left it. Yeah, when I bought this house, they only left a refrigerator. Nope, that's not true. They left some really nice bowls. And I love those. They don't seem to be haunted.
Well, that's a bonus then.
Yeah.
Nice, not haunted bowls.
Right, yes. Very nice. Stainless steel. I love them. They're huge.
Wow. A whole bunch of mixing bowls.
Oh, yeah. The people that lived here before, they must have been so pissed when they realized they left their good mixing bowls.
Yeah, no kidding. Those are expensive.
Yeah. Now, the refrigerator, on the other hand, the ice makers never worked, but every once in a while, it likes to make a noise. So,
ooh,
ice ghost. I don't know. Anyways, Myrtle's like okay with this arrangement. Her and Robert, come to an understanding. She is hearing like footsteps in the house at times. She is hearing giggling. She has also guests come over that say Robert is making faces at them. Oh, changing his expression. Anytime they seem to talk shit about the previous family, the Ottos, he did not like that. And Myrtle herself said that Robert would move around the house. She didn't have any kids, so I guess she was completely fine with this. Kind of how like you talk to your pets like they're children, It's
so bizarre to think about someone that's just okay with that sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, come on over. Okay, the doll might get up and move around. Just know that when you come to my house.
Don't talk shit about the Ottos, okay?
Right.
And everybody will be fine.
I have a list of rules for entering your premises.
So again, she has no plans to really get rid of him, but it comes to a time in her life when it's time for her to downsize. I mean, this is like a Key West mansion, So she's going to move to a smaller house and in some way, shape, or form, Robert lets her know he doesn't want to move. He doesn't want to go to her new house. So she decides to then donate him to the Fort East Martello Museum in Key West.
That's such a weird place to donate a doll. I mean, she must have thought it was just really antique or expensive.
That's what it was. It was like, this is his 100-year-old doll. Wouldn't you like it? And they're like, yes, we have a collection of old toys. That's great. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So Myrtle's like, done my good deed. I'm good.
Also, that's got to be a good write-off.
I wonder what he was valued at, because when I'm at the antique store and the really old dolls that totally are haunted and I want them, but they're like $80 and I'm like, I'm also cheap. Sorry. I know souls are valuable, but I was looking for, $20 or less.
Something more in my price range for haunted objects.
Or any object, because again, very cheap. So Robert now lives at this museum, and many people believe that he is still being his mischievous self.
Wow.
And casting curses on people that are not respectful to him.
Damn.
Apparently, you are supposed to introduce yourself. You are supposed to ask for permission to take a photo of him. And then don't dare say anything ugly in his presence about him or, his home or his family.
It's a lot like Peggy the doll is the same situation. Okay.
Very much. I'd love to see the two of them together.
I know, right? Would they hit it off or would it be mega doll fight?
Yeah. Would they be like, I hate it when people do that too. Me too.
Right?
Oh my God. It's so simple. Just be polite and I won't curse you. And they're like, yes, that's what I'm saying. Everybody's like, he's evil. And it's like, no, I was raised with manners. Get over it. That's all that it is. Or would they be like, who's the bigger boss here?
Yeah. I like the first one just because it has like this epic rainbow happy ending and everybody's okay.
Yeah.
I can like kind of hear the turtles, on the 45 in the background, like so happy together.
I love that song. With like Chucky and the Bride of Chucky. They'll be so happy.
Just not killing people, but happy together.
They might enjoy killing people together. Don't judge what they're into.
Epic power. If you go in there and you totally disrespect them both, then it's like, bam!
The second that this museum shuts down and this doll becomes available, this is on like Donkey Kong. Zach Bagans is getting this goddamn doll if he has to sell his big-ass mansion he lives in.
I bet he's already like put in bids. Like he's letting them know at any moment this goes up for sale. I want first dibs.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure he's sent letters, which so have so many other people. So all these people think that they have gone there and they haven't asked for permission. They've been disrespectful. And this has caused like them to get into a car accident or break a bone or lose a job, get a divorce, like a whole bunch of misfortunes. They all blame on this doll and this moment that they were mean to it.
Yeah.
So the case that he's in now is full of letters from these people like begging forgiveness and for him to like remove the hex that he's placed on them.
Wow. We've got an oil for that in our shop, by the way.
What if you just sent him the oil?
I know. Just send us the letter so we get your address and then we'll send you the oil.
Yeah. We should try to sell it to the museum and they can just mark it, on every letter that comes in. They claim that they get 3 letters a day for him.
Wow.
That's more mail than I get.
I get lots from American Express and Discover, just anybody that wants to throw a credit card at me. So that sucks. But God, 3 letters a day. And this has gone on for how many years now?
He's been at the museum since 1994.
Wow. It's a lot of paper.
I would imagine that they change it out and it's not all in the case. They also say that people send him candy because they think they got the impression somewhere that he really likes candy. And they've sent him like toys and stuff, which some of this I think they might put into the case and some they're just like, please stop. The person that's in charge of him and his display, I read an article where she was like, we are a museum, guys. Like, there are other things going on here. Stop with the gifts for Robert, please. She's tired of being his assistant.
Wow. But I bet that's where the teddy bear and the dog and all the other dolls that he's holding on to come from, huh?
I suspect that, yeah. And you know what? He's a much cheaper date than that Dibbit box because that Dibbit box straight up asks for cash so it doesn't curse your ass.
That's true. It knows. It's like, come on, just drop off the cha-ching. Everything's okay.
Don't give me your old peppermints and butterscotch candies.
Yeah, right?
I like butterscotch candy, though.
You too.
But yeah, that's the short version of Robert the Doll.
That's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy to think that people are like mailing him letters on a regular because they went and saw him and maybe didn't ask for his permission first.
Yeah.
You wonder, like, what happened to him? Did he burn his eggs or did he wreck his car? Like, to what extent do these people feel like they've been cursed that they have to write a letter to Robert?
Well, the first time I ever went to Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum, while I was standing in line, there was a guy that had went there like a week ago, and he said he didn't give an offer to the Dybbuk box, and his girlfriend broke up with him. So he just assumed it had to do with a Dybbuk box. Though he was at the museum with another chick. So
I wonder why.
Yeah. I mean, it could be something as small as that. I don't know where you get that gut feeling that it could have been from that you want to beg for forgiveness from this doll. They also say that they get letters of people asking Robert to help them curse someone.
Oh, man. Okay, thank you. Reminder to myself to stay off of everyone's shit list because I would hate to be in that box in that museum as one of those letters like Chris Duncan. She cut me off on the road. I hate that bitch. Please flatten her tires or something like that. God.
No, that's so unfair too. Like you didn't do anything to Robert. I hope he's not fulfilling any of these wishes.
There's too many for him. I mean, he's a doll. He can't read that many letters. I mean, shit, he's got to wait for everyone to turn their back so that he can get up and shift around. So he's probably getting in maybe a letter a day. And at this rate, he'll never see the ones that are written about me. So I'm okay. I feel better now.
That's good. That's good. Hopefully they don't put those in the box because that's just not fair. Like in his case, you know?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because they've got to filter his mail. So don't give him everything, guys. Fingers crossed they're not doing that.
Right. Just start giving him coupons. Give him something interesting to look at. So I like that. I'm glad you did that. I decided to do something a little bit different with my story because I've done like the haunted car and the haunted painting and very recently the haunted chair that's at Zach Bagans' museum. While I was looking for something, I actually found there's a lot more haunted chairs out there too and haunted bunk beds and like just all kinds of shit.
I saw the haunted bunk beds too and was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Oh my God, you guys, I was already sold the first time, so I've got to stop reading. I'm going to be like Zach Bagans at one point in my life. Be like, look at my bunk beds. A box with a picture of the bunk bed. So like I said, I decided to do something a little bit different. I found 5 books that are said to be so cursed that even one page flip will leave you with years of bad luck and misfortune. They're all really intriguing and come with a read at your own risk warning label.
Oh my gosh.
I know, it's really messed up. So for the first one, we have the book called The Orphan's Story. This book was written between 1608 and 1615 by a Spanish friar named Martin de Leon. And in this book, it tells the story of a 14-year-old Spaniard who leaves his home in Granada and goes to the Americas in search of wealth. The protagonist moves through the Spanish Empire during the time of the conquest. Now, this book was scheduled to be printed in 1621 under the pen name Andres de Leon, but it never made it to print. And that is because the people who worked on the book for publication kept dying. Like, bam. Also, the author was in the process of moving up the ranks that saw him becoming like archbishop. Mm-hmm. So they're dying. He's kind of going in a different direction. So he stopped pushing for the book to be published. So 400 years were lost. And finally, it was found in 1965. Suddenly, anyone that touches this book started dying off again. Like, leave this shit alone, guys. The deaths of editors and translators include car accidents and mysterious illnesses. So, I mean, some of these illnesses probably could have been underlying conditions, and car accidents happen every day. But it is kind of weird that they were all involved with this book.
Yes, to this level and this many people, and with that time apart, and it starts all up again. That's weird. Exactly.
So what's crazy about this one is that it will actually be available for purchase as it's finally made its way through so many fucking people and editors and whatever that it's now going to be in print. So the book highlights the brutalization of the indigenous peoples of America, and don't think that the author sympathized with those who were literally dying while mining gold for the Spanish Empire. His hesitation was that the workers were killed at too fast of a rate and they could have been used to work in the mines.
So this is why the book is cursed.
I know. It's a Winchester House style of a curse, right?
Yeah, well, that's a shitty book.
Yeah, it's a shitty book.
Your direction was terrible, sir, and it shouldn't be printed.
Right.
There was some spirit that was like, absolutely not. Don't talk about us like that.
Right. As soon as I read that, I was like, aha, now I see. And then something else that was kind of weird here is that one of the darkest chapters in the novel is actually missing 2 pages. Nobody knows where those pages went, what they said, but they're gone. So the book is being published after it's being translated, but there's just a gap.
No. No. Remember that scene in Elf where they just are missing pages and the story doesn't make sense? I mean, it could just be a printer error, but yeah, right. I wouldn't touch this book anyways.
You almost have to think like 400 years ago, did somebody get to some part and they're just like, okay, this shit right here, this just can't go on. He rips the 2 pages out, he throws them in the fire, he dies in a fire, or something like that. And that nobody knows about what was on those last 2 pages.
And they just release it anyways.
Right. Yeah. So does this curse only spread to those who worked on the translations and the publications so far? I mean, I guess we'll find out as soon as it's published if it spreads to the readers as well. Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. But also, why would anybody buy this?
Right. Well, I mean, all of these books that I'm going to tell you about, people are spending money on them because they want to know. And I think a lot of times that mostly they're cursed because these people are bringing the shit on to themselves. I mean, you already know what this book's about. Just saying. So my second curse book is the Untitled Grimoires. This is a fascinating set of handwritten, spiral-bound spell books that were sold by an online retailer for just under $14,000 in 2013. Shit is right.
Doodle some shit down in a notebook real quick and let's go sell it for that money on eBay.
I know, right? This one has a good history and there's a lot of famous people that had their hands on it. So I think that whoever paid that money just kind of wanted to own that piece of history. Mm-hmm. So like I said, the books were handwritten, but this was back in the 60s. The woman who's responsible for them, her name is Persephone Adraste Irene. She's an American witch of Swedish and English ancestry, and Persephone led her own coven.
Nice.
I know. I loved that right away. I was like, this is my favorite one. The first of the 2 books is a rework of Persephone's mother's grimoire and contains hundreds of years of Wicca knowledge passed through the generations. How cool is that?
That's super cool.
There are 250 pages of spells, incantations, curses, and enchantments, and the book includes information on gems, planets, rites, potions, and even exorcisms. The second book includes alchemy, chemistry, recipes, cures, ceremonial perfumes, and balms, as well as recipes for nerve tonics, liquors, and even hairspray.
Okay.
This was YouTube before YouTube was a thing.
Yeah. Her channel would have been the best.
Yeah, for real. She would have been a YouTube sensation for sure. But you must be warned because there is a serious catch to owning these books. The opening page of the first 2 of the grimoires is inscribed with the haunting warning, and I quote, "To those not of the craft, the reading of this book is forbidden. Proceed no further, or justice will exact a swift and terrible retribution, and you will surely suffer at the hand of the craft."
Well, now I just lost respect for her because I don't like when people are like that.
Yeah.
You'll find that in some Wiccan cultures.
Oh, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, where they're very much like, you're a poser. You're not really with us if you don't know everything and follow it exactly. Like, some people are just curious and they want to learn. So what's wrong with picking up a book and reading and learning?
There's nothing wrong with it. And I actually, when I read her warning there, I thought it was just a way of her to say, hey, look, try to come in here with respect. And I know that you have an open mind to this, but use it wisely. So that's how I took it. But you're right. Yeah, there are some people out there who you believe in my way or no way. And I'm just like, no.
Well, and also like, you can't be a part of our thing if you're not already a part of our thing. Well, how do I get a part of your thing if you don't let me in? But you're right. Maybe it was like a word word to the wise, don't try this at home. Like if you're an amateur, don't just flip to the curse page and try to do some stuff, you know? You work up to it.
Right. Start small first, and then you can work your way up to this. So the warning was not only written in English, Persephone also wrote it in other languages to ensure that the reader was properly warned to keep away if necessary.
Wow, she did not have a day job, for sure.
No.
That's a lot of work, man.
It was a lot of work. And if you take a look at it, I don't have a picture for you, but it's like the writing is all these curly, it looks like something alien. These curly cues, maybe it's Greek, legit. And I don't know because I've never studied Greek or anything, but it took some time to write that. Not like my chicken scratch. When I'm writing my grocery list and it's the fastest thing, when I'm at the grocery store, I'm like, what was that? I guess it's this grimoire. No, but she put a lot of energy into it. And I guess it was a pretty awesome book for its time because before the books were sold online, they were owned by Alice Montserrat, who was the wife of Israel Regardie, who moved to the UK to work with none other than Aleister Crowley. Later on, they both went on to work with the Golden Dawn Order and printed their works and publications as occultism raised into the modern world. Though Montserrat did little reporting on the cursed lore over these books, she did make notes as to why she and others within the order believed that the curse carried some serious weight. So the first is the obvious, the warning label. The other reason that these books have picked up the cursed lore is their association with famous occult writers and the orders they studied under, which mostly proved that each one of them were either run out of town after having some serious bouts of misfortune. Now, that could have been because of the book's curse, or just the fact that there was a lot of intolerance to witch-like and occult practices, and these guys couldn't make friends with the neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, this book is one that you can pick up and try for yourself if you do so dare. Copies of the untitled grimoires are available through M. Benjamin Catt's Fine Books and Rare Manuscripts in Toronto.
Nice. I would suspect that, yes, she wrote that warning, but again, like we said, it is just advice. Don't be disrespectful. Don't just pick this up for one purpose, really take it all in and be a part of it. And then it got its curse kind of stamp from the other people.
Other people, yeah, exactly.
They got their hands on it and turned it to something a little darker. They misinterpreted that warning, I think.
Yeah. They took her book and probably built on her incantations and spells and made it a little bit darker. I mean, because these other people were well known to be in that realm. She kind of seemed like she was cool. Like she was doing Pinterest magic stuff. I mean, I'm not trying to put her down, but I was liking her style.
I was loving every bit of it. She's educating people and everything. That's why I just don't think that she would have just put a curse on her book. I think they did that. I think they took it and took it to the next level.
Yeah.
Because that's their style.
That's their style, right? So since I just mentioned Crowley, the next book is credited as being the influence to Aleister Crowley in creating his magical system of Thelema. This is my third book. It's called The Book of Sacred Magic of Abramelin the Mage. Ever since it was translated into English in 1900, this 15th century novel has had a reputation for being cursed. There are several theories why, but most believe that it has to do with the mage's belief that everyone has their own unique personal demons. Yeah.
That's actually very smart. Yes.
Yeah, right? Like you had the aha moment. I did too. And I was reading that. I was like, I see that. And throughout the book, he gives instructions for rituals and supernatural feats that would aid you in summoning and controlling your demons. While one great feature of the book is a magical system of sigils that can bring you wealth, beauty, or other fantastic abilities, this book also contains instructions for an elaborate ritual that takes 18 months, which when completed correctly will allow you to communicate with your guardian angel. Sound familiar?
Yes, and also that's way too long.
It is so epic and drawn out. And remember when I did the Aleister Crowley episode, it was episode 100. It was like, who's got this fucking time? I mean, Aleister Crowley ran out of money. That's why when the order called him, he's like, I gotta go. I need some money. I can't eat around here. I can't drink around here. Fuck this shit. So yes, if you get your hands on this and you want to do that 18-month-long spell journey, whatever elaborate ritual, please do it correctly. Maybe since Crowley's mishap at the Boleskine house, I'm hoping that they've added a few extra warning labels. But aside from Crowley's ordeal, many other readers of this book have reported bad luck and hauntings by spirits from another realm. Duh. You've just been handed instructions for conjuring these things with what you're reading from this book, and I'm sure you've tried it out, and then suddenly crazy shit starts happening. Wow, this book is cursed. So that was an interesting one, but not nearly as interesting as my number 4, The Grand Grimoire. First, this book was given the nickname The Gospel of Satan, and it's said to have been written in the 16th century by a man who was possessed by the devil himself. I've got his name here, but I'm going to butcher it, so I'm just going to keep on moving.
Yep. I support that.
Thank you. The 16th century book is known as one of the most terrifying occult books in existence. It contains dark incantations and instructions on how to summon demons and raise spirits from the dead. It also has several spells for winning the lottery, talking to spirits, making people love you, and making yourself invisible.
Shit. You're thinking, or I'm thinking at least, the devil wrote it. Okay, negative. I don't need to read it. That's fine. Thanks for letting me know. Not a fan of his work. So we're good. Then you start talking about being invisible and winning the lottery. And I'm like, fuck, this is how they get you to.
That's how they get you. Right. Now it's like, now I need this book.
Can I just flip to that page?
Right. That's pretty funny because that's actually what I was going to say next. Like, you're enticed now to get to this thing.
He knows how to do that.
He does. Well, unfortunately, this book wouldn't have such a dark reputation as being one of the most feared medieval manuscripts of all time if it was all just for fun. Apparently, just opening this book is considered to be the equivalent to selling your soul to the devil.
That's not fair. You didn't make any agreements.
Yeah, right? Exactly. You don't have to sign a contract with this one. You just open it up, flip to that page, win in the lottery. It's done.
Sucks.
Right. So we'll just have to wipe that one from our memories.
Maybe they'll make a Cliff Notes one day that's
I know, that doesn't sell your soul to the devil. I know, right? I just want that one page. That's all we need.
Yeah.
So looking into this book, I learned that it's another 2-for-1 deal, but you can't get your hands on the original version of it either. Apparently, the Vatican wants it all to themselves, so they've got it locked up tight in their secret archives.
Probably for the best.
I would think so. Many think that this book is real-life evidence that Jesus and the devil did once exist, especially since new evidence from the book at the Vatican came to light in late 2020. Now, I wonder who sold their soul to discover that little bit of information. Come on.
But they put the power of the Lord all around them, like a protective bubble, so that they're allowed to then look at the book.
Right.
They get one of those little, like, claw things. It's outside of the bubble, and that's how they flip the pages. But also at the same time, I'm now thinking, I bet they're playing the fucking lottery.
I know, right? Well, also, again, this was discovered in late 2020, so I'm wondering if it was kind of like, fuck it, COVID is going to take everybody anyway, so I don't care if I sell my soul to the devil. Just open that bad boy up. Let's go with this lottery winning.
Or... No, sorry, you said it was late. I was like, or it's what started it all. But you said late 2020.
Yeah, late 2020. No, that's so funny, Wendy, because I had to reread that because I was like, oh, I just figured it out. This is where COVID came from. What a great episode this is going to be. I have a revelation. Oh, but anyways, one of the most infamous contents of the Grand Grimoire are the instructions that supposedly allow a person to summon Lucifer, or as he's named in the book, Lucifuge.
What?
Lucifuge. Yum! What will you have with your Lucifuge? Sprinkles, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure I butchered that. But I'm not up to date on the correct pronunciation of demon names. I'm sorry. It's just not where I want to be these days.
You disappoint me.
I know it. I tried. Look, when I went to Wikipedia and I was looking this up, I was like, I know that one. I don't know that. I don't know that one. Oh, fuck it. There's too many demon names in here.
And it's not one that you want to type into your computer and get your computer to say it back to you, because you don't need to be calling that out multiple times while you learn how to say it. So you're also saying it multiple times. It'll turn into a Bloody Mary situation, I'm sure. So.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I do take my laptop and my phone into the bathroom with me a lot. So I would be in there in the dark.
Those mirrors, they're full of shit.
No. So there are even instructions on how you would go about making Lucifer do your bidding after he's been summoned. Yeah. So,
well, that's interesting, though, because I thought he makes us do his bidding, not us specifically, but you know what I mean. So it's like you can summon him to he do it instead.
Yes. So basically you bring him up here and you have him do some stuff for you. And then you also can learn rituals to protect yourself from Lucifer, just in case he's got some shit up his sleeve, because he is the devil after all, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, like I said earlier, the original Grand Grimoire is held in the Vatican Secret Archive, but there was another version of it made during the 18th century in France. This version of the Grand Grimoire was spread to different colonies that French had at the time, and as a result of this, the Grand Grimoire is still being widely used in Caribbean countries, in particular, Haiti, where the book is referred to as Le Véritable Dragon Rouge. So when you were talking about Robert the Doll earlier and how she was like this
Haitian woman, yeah.
She had this book. That's where Robert the Doll came from. I bet she summoned.
You wonder, okay, why is he bad?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe something could have happened to him over in Germany. That's a weird place sometimes.
Yeah.
Lots of creepy things, Krampus, whatnot. They're all over there. So they've got their own witches and demons that are quite out there.
Yeah.
Or did he come here just as a doll and then something that was in their own home got into him?
Possess him.
Yeah, but like immediately.
Immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what happened in Child's Play with Chucky. It just took that one person to say, you're cursed, and bam-o. And then that, what was it, Happy Time doll? God, I can't even remember. But friends till the end. I mean, I'm sure Robert the Doll was a beautiful, handcrafted toy at one point in time. But the fact that he's cursed, he looks it too. He's aged, probably not so well from the curse that he's been having to deal with his whole doll life.
The little dents on his face are a mark every time he like hexes someone.
Could be. But if it was something in that house, I mean, you would think that the house would still be.
Yes and no. I don't mean specifically the house, but I didn't want to accuse any servant. But maybe they did treat their servants shitty. And in that area of Key West, a lot of these servants would have been Haitian. So, they know some stuff.
I know.
They're very spiritual. And what a way to get back to somebody. They're like, that doll, that'd be a great vessel. Because that means that doll, made it the trip over from Germany to Florida without causing any trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
And only started some shit once he ganged up with Jean there. That kid was probably a fucking brat. And no.
I bet he was. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and you think when he got to be an adult, he was just like, hey, I just want to go back to being a kid and doing all those, weird things. And really, it was him torturing other people instead of the doll itself. Like, he was actually able to throw his voice, and people just started blaming the doll. But the kid was like the Fox sisters, right? Isn't that their names? The two. Yeah.
Yeah, but then Robert's still affecting people to this day. So I think Jean might have just been like obsessed with this item, and it made him like sick,
Yeah, a little sick, a little creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so for this book, the Grand Grimoire is still widely used by practitioners in Haiti also. So just keep that in mind. And a little fun fact about this one, said to be impervious to fire. So much like those confounded demon-possessed Ouija boards that you can't, rid of.
Burn or get rid of.
Right. So finally, my number 5 is the Codex Gigas. This one has a nickname too. It's sometimes referred to as the Devil's Bible. So check this one out. The Codex Gigas is known for being the largest medieval book in the world. It is 36 inches tall and 8.7 inches thick. It weighs 165 pounds. This is a book.
That's a doorstopper.
It is, yeah, that is true. And it was written on 320 pages of vellum, which came from 160 donkeys.
Oh, those poor donkeys.
I know. They gave everything for this book. No one even knows who wrote it. Only that it was created by a scribe in a Benedictine monastery, which is now present-day Czech Republic. There is a legend around this book that it was written in one night by a monk who had broken his vows and was scheduled to be killed the next day. He begged for his life and said he would write a book that would honor the monastery to save his life. The monk prayed to Lucifer to help him complete it. And for his gratitude, he drew a full-page picture of the devil in the book. Modern analysis says that it would have taken someone at least 5 years of continuous writing in order to have completed it.
Yeah, it takes me like 4 hours to write my podcast story.
I know.
And they're very short.
Oh, yeah. And this is, again, we're talking about our scribbly scratch in English. And he's writing this in, I don't know, another Greek again. So what I read about scribes is that they were so careful with writing because the vellum would be damaged. They wouldn't even write by open flame because they didn't want it to burn. So they would write only during the daylight hours, and their backs would hurt, their hands would cramp. They would be standing there in these positions, slowly making every little curve look beautiful. And obviously, it did look nice. I mean, you can go back and look at those books and be like, oh, it's old. We just type everything. So because of the conditions of how they were back then, that's why they're like, no, I mean, if someone said that they wrote it in this amount of time, there's no way. It's not possible. And it's a huge ass book too. So that was it. That's all that I had. My curse books may actually be cursed in the case of The Orphan, where many people died, or maybe they're said to be cursed because you need to proceed with caution and just take its contents very seriously. But for some of them, I really think that if the incantations are as powerful as many claim them to be, you could be willingly bringing the curses upon yourself. Which brings me to my surprise, number 6. But this is a poem, not a book. This is known as Tomino's Hell. This one is debated as being an urban legend, and you'll see creepypasta written all over this bad boy. But that's where people also mention Slenderman, and to this day you'll hear lore historians. How do I get that title?
Yes.
Isn't that like the best? That's like the historian I've been needing to be my whole life. So these guys reference earlier mentions of Slenderman, indicating that because sightings of him have been around for so long, that there may be more to it than just an urban legend. So that's where this one lies. Tomino's Hell. It kind of sounds like a pizza that you get at Walmart, like in the frozen section. Tomino's Hell, 2 for 1. People claim that reading or listening to this poem will make you ill, bring you misfortune, or even death. If you're brave enough to learn more about it, I will link the YouTube video for you, but beware, because I didn't watch it. Hell no, I'm too superstitious.
Yeah, I think that's a negative. Do not post that.
You don't post it? Well, I was going to post like the link to it, or maybe I'll post the article about it first. How about that?
Yes, and go Google that shit yourself.
That shit. I don't want to be responsible for anything that happens. I'm just saying it's out there. It's all over the place. I found out that this stemmed from the poem, I guess, that was written in Japan. So this is around the world. Like, this is making its way. So if you read it and something happens, don't come blaming us because I didn't write it. I'm just letting you know that it's out there. So now that's it. That's all I got. Surprise. That's it.
Wow. The thing is that you tell me about each book and there's intriguing things about them that can entice you to be like, oh, I want to see this.
Yeah.
What does it say that's so like going to curse you?
Yeah.
But then it's like, yeah, not into being cursed. Never mind. Just joking.
Right. It's completely different when it's your choice, right? Like with Robert the Doll, it wasn't really a choice. It was just a doll that was given to them that, just did some weird shit. Like they were just stuck with it. And then, of course, Gene was infatuated with it. So he was never going to let that doll go to anybody else.
Yeah, but it is people's choice to how they interact with him. Just like Peggy the doll. They say that you're supposed to go in and be like, hi, Peggy, and stuff like that. But you could be like, I'm tougher than nails and go in there and be like, middle fingers, Peggy, just to see if it's true or not. So, I am somewhat intrigued. I don't know, though. These books kind of scare me. I think the fact that some of them are devil related, just blatantly. That first book, it's just awful. Like, I wouldn't want to give any kind of money towards that situation.
Yep.
The spell books, totally into them. I think that they just got an ugly rumor about them by some stupid people. Mm-hmm. But the devil books, I guess, just because you say the devil wrote them, I'm like, yep, and then we're not supposed to read that. So that's good. You are supposed to stay away from it as much as you possibly can.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing. The people that had their hand in those books that were nicknamed something devil, obviously they had a choice in doing those incantations or reading those books or just fucking opening up. Like I said, you're already signing the contract right there. So you know what you're getting into. Same situation with this Terminos Hell. It's on YouTube. I'm not interested. So I didn't even watch it. I know that it's out there. That's great. Let me have Villisca Axe Murder House any day because I mean, I just feel like I can kind of have a better handle on the paranormal than I can with a possible curse that I could be bringing upon myself. I don't want that.
Yeah, for me, it's kind of that as well. And you're making that choice.
Yeah.
But they're claiming that you're making a choice to be involved with the devil. And
The
it's
devil.
like,
Yeah.
no, I might want to see what Peggy can do, but I don't really want to. Because I feel like I can talk myself out of it with Peggy. If she gets pissed off at me, even with Robert, you send him some candy, a toy. You say, I'm so sorry. Never mind. I was just teasing you. But I don't think the devil goes along with any of that.
No, and also more to your point there with Peggy and with Robert, I mean, it's almost like, you know, how grandparents always say, I love being a grandparent because they get to have the kids and spoil them, and then they get to give them back to you, the parent that deals with all the, you know, wiping of the shit and the crying and the screaming and all of that. With these dolls that are behind glass, you get to go and visit. You get to go and look at them. Say hi. How's it going? Can I take your Okay, cool. I'll take your picture. And then you get to leave and go home. Those dolls stay there. With these books, you're going to pay for it. You're going to bring that into your house.
True.
With your family,
no,
man.
That is definitely not. Peggy wouldn't be allowed in my house either. Don't tell her I said that, but.
Yeah, that's another YouTube video. Apparently, if you go and watch her, right, like she could make you feel sick and all kinds of.
I do believe, though, when I've gone into the room that she's in, I didn't say hi to her.
Yeah. I think when we went together, we were just kind of like, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to be tough.
Yeah, we're tough.
We looked at her and then we just left.
There were so many other people coming into the room too, though. True. And I feel like they were saying, you know, hi or thanks for me, you know, so it's just, I'm with them, I guess. We all came in together, you know, so obviously. Yeah. Anyways, that was awesome. I feel like one of those books, I think it was the spell book. I came across that one, but none of the other ones.
Oh, really? You saw the spell? Oh, cool.
Yeah, I think I read a little bit about that, but not in detail like what you went over. And then the other ones were completely new to me.
There are a lot of other haunted and cursed books out there, but those were just my faves for the episode. So yeah, you'll find that there's others.
Yeah, so that was awesome. I loved it. And so if anybody else has got a story out there about a haunted object, maybe you own one, then you can write to us at creaturesofthenightparanormal@gmail.com, or you can comment on any of our social media, which is listed in the show notes below, all our links for that. You can also DM us, and we'll share it on the podcast if you want us to. Just let us know. And you could follow us on all our social medias, again, down in the links below. And then please subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's COTN Paranormal, because you'll get to see all the videos from the podcast. And we have a shop. So that's on Etsy. It's called The Spirit Emporium. So that's another way to support the show. You can go and shop our merch and other spiritual products that we make that can help protect you from some of these cursed items. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, you got to buy a lot if you really want protection from those devil books.
Yeah. Douse yourself. Get a bath worth of all of our products.
Yeah. So before you make that move, make sure you hit us up.
Yep.
Also, rate and review our podcast so we know how we're doing. And I think that's all the selling ourselves. For next week's episode, we are going to be talking about haunted stories / locations that have to do with like lost love, tragic love, something like that. As we're going into February now.
Soap opera month, guys.
Some kind of scorn lover situation. Can't let it go. Have to haunt them for the rest of their lives.
It's going to be good. You'll definitely want to tune in for this.
Yeah. All right. That's it.
All right. So thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye, guys.